How's it going, everyone? What you're going to see today, if you choose to watch it, obviously, is a 40-0 tank gameplay, obviously with a 40 kill streak. It's currently my highest kill streak in Battlefield 4, and I'm obviously going to try to improve on it. But I do notice that as I'm continually unlocking all of the attachments, all of the gear, and everything that I want for not only the vehicles like tanks, IVs, but the equipment for all of the classes, which I have unlocked already, and everything to do with the guns that I choose and the attachments to put on those guns. As I get all of those and I become more familiar with the game, I've noticed my kill-death ratio, my score per minute, and everything just absolutely skyrocketing. The difference in the last couple of weeks, as I've actually gotten the chance to play and unlock, my kill-death ratio in the opening week was terrible. It was like a 1.3 because of the terrible spawns and just grinding through domination with its terrible spawns and kill trading. But then I noticed, as I was getting a feel for it, getting all my unlocks, going back to Conquest, I noticed that my KD skyrocketed up to about 1.8, and my score per minute went up. I think it was close to 200. So it's it increased 200, not it is 200. That's terrible. But I should point out the caveat though. Its stats are very arbitrary and always ever changing in Battlefield 4. So to simply look up someone's KD and score per minute and evaluate him as a player doesn't at all tell you the full story. It shouldn't tell you the full story unless you're ignorant. Because I've seen multiple players have incredible score per minutes but terrible kill death ratio based on horrific luck circumstance of their death, or the fact that they just happen to know that someone, like, and the other day I had one guy that just stuck around in my attack helicopter the whole, or in my my scout helicopter, just repairing it the whole time. He kept me in the skies, and between me getting kills and capping the objectives, we both racked up an incredible score, and we won the match handily. So those selfless team players might go 0-3 in the whole match, but them contributing all of those stats and keeping players that are valuable to the team alive is probably much better than someone that's gonna, say, camp out. I'll just use two examples. As someone camping out, sniping, and not really doing much for the team, although I will defend snipers because I am one myself. Or say someone that goes 25-20 and just runs toward the MCOM, gets mows down, contributes nothing, but hey, he's not a sniper, so we'll let him go. That's the Battlefield 4 community for you. But I won't get into that. But I will break down tanks today. I'll end that rant. I will break down a whole separate other video breaking down everything there is about tanks. But for now, at least, I've stuck with the AP shell. I haven't actually done a ton of... It's a 120 millimeter shell. It's basically the standard one that you start with. Your other two options are the HE shell, which are basically the explosive round, which deal heavy damage against armored targets, but they travel at a lower speed, or the sabot shell. The HE shell, the He shell, and the sabot shell both tend to unleash more damage when you use them than the AP shell. The only problem is I've noticed it's more inconsistent at this point. I'm not sure if they're bugged. I'm not sure if Battlefield's hit detection needs work, if the patch is coming, if they're changing them. I'm not sure. But I have noticed that those two are more inconsistent than the AP shell. I win my fair share of tank battles using the AP shell for now. Versus when I use the sabot shell, lower level people with the AP shell are the ones disabling me faster. So I'm not sure how this works. I have to do more study into the other two first before I make my actual decision. You've already seen by looking at the footage that my secondary is always the coaxial HMG, and that's for two reasons. Because you're able to take out light armor vehicles with them, including helicopters, pretty quickly, and more importantly, you get to take out infantry that are trying to take you out. If you, say, equip the staff shell here, because the staff shell is a 120 millimeter shell with a smart warhead that detonates above a target for a critical hit. That's fantastic if you're going into a map that you know for sure you're going to be up against primarily other armor. So having that advantage helps in tank fights, for instance. The only problem is in this map here, there's maybe two tanks and an IFV. And for the most part, our team was really good at actually securing the objectives where the IFV spawned. So I know for a fact that I wasn't going to be getting in many armor battles. And you've already seen by now, I must have mowed down 10-15 people with the 50 cal gun. And it's just something, you need to have it if you know there's going to be infantry in the area. Because that way you have the balance between being able to take out armor patiently and actually being able to mow down people that are trying to shoot you with the Law, which I think the Law rocket launcher is bugged, because whenever countermeasure I use, it doesn't seem to break the lock. It insta-hits me regardless of whether I put out smoke, whether I put out like the blinding smoke or the actual smoke back from Battlefield 3. I'm not sure. The only one that actually works is active protection. The only problem is I don't like active protection as an actual countermeasure because it has like a 30-second cooldown or whatever. So you block one rocket, but if two guys are out there and shooting rockets at you continuously, guess what? For 30 seconds you have nothing to counter it with. I suppose if it's a lot, it doesn't matter at this point, but the point stands. At this point here, before I break down the rest of what I actually equip on the tank, my tank actually does get blown up here. I do try and fight it off, but then I noticed that for the most part, my teammates were tanking because I sat here for about 4 or 5 more minutes after, but I edited it out because there was just no one attacking, or everyone else on my team killed them before I could, so it was me running around basically like this. But I did notice that no one was taking our tanks out of the base, and I figure I'm on E flag, which will be close to the base, so I take a run for the tank and I get it back, and then you'll see where I bring the tank back and I go right back to work continuing the kill streak. But that's basically the explanation behind that, if you were going to ask. For the countermeasure, right now I'm currently using IR Smoke. The description with it says that it fires canisters of vaporized brass particles, which interfere with hostile missiles and laser designations. Smoke screen's basically the same. It impairs, well, except for laser designations. It targets, it impairs target acquisition, making it impossible for missiles to actually hit critically damaging shots, which is actually nice too. The fire extinguisher I don't use because for the most part I'll just get out and repair. And active protection, like I said, has quite the cooldown to it. Great idea, just too long a cooldown for me to be comfortable with. For now I'm using thermal optics. I don't like zoom optics because I feel I can still hit my target at the range that I'm shooting at. And, well, since there's no longer proximity scan because everyone would complain about it in Battlefield 3, I use reactive armor as my full-time upgrade. Right now I'm currently using the Black Shark as my paint. I have Gunner Zoom because I notice most people like Gunner Zoom over Gunner Thermal that I've talked to online. And Gunner Proximity Scan because it's just a wonderful perk to have. Having your Gunner basically designating people around you that are potential infantry threats with C4 or anything keep you alive longer, plain and simple, if you both are on your game. You can switch that to Gunner Softlem if you were to choose, if you're in a high armor style round match, or you can choose Gunner Incendiary. But I'd much rather know where my targets are than having something to actually destroy them but not knowing where they are, if you understand what I mean by that. If you know where they are, you can take them out with the 50 cal that I have, or the gun that my gunner has. But using Gunner Incendiary, you have to basically have your eyes not only around your tank, but around other threats to your tank as well. And if you miss one at any point in time, you're done. So I'd much rather know where my targets are, and then you can deal with them appropriately. But that's the basic setup that I've been using for tanks overall. And for the most part, what I pretty much will be using in the future. If you want to see specific breakdowns and specific gameplays of me using each perk and each and every different one, I'll try for that. But I don't see much difference in terms of my loadout in the near future. This is a very successful loadout that I've been having. This one obviously at this point in time is my best current run with a 40 kill streak. But I have had higher kill matches, but I've been killed more. There was a round I had a couple of weeks ago that was in Siege of Shanghai where I went like 41-5 in a tank, where it was one more kill. And there was another round where I went like 58-10. But it depends on the round. It depends on if I'm able to read and make adjustments based on what the enemies are trying to do, and all sorts of everything around that. So that's the basic breakdown that I have for tanks, like I've said like twice now already. And I don't see it changing much. If you want to see more tank gameplays such as this, let me know in the comments section. And I love using tanks and IVs, so I'll break down IVs in the near future as well. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you later.
There's a hostile tank west of your position. 发现敌军坦克！敌军坦克被我们发现了。我看到了敌军坦克。Objective Delta now under our control. Okay, I 我需要维修，我的车坏掉了。West of your position.